Hey, I'm Matt, and as usual, I'm headed to work. And I want to tell you about the weirdest dream I've ever had in my entire life. And I had it last night, / this morning. Hey, buddy, I know you got a big trailer, but can you stay in your lane, please? Okay. So, it started off, sorry, time of year, allergies and dry wind and dries out and stuff. So, okay, my wife and I, actually no, it was just me. This rich couple had a huge warehouse, and in the warehouse there was a shipping container, like a long, like the size of a tractor trailer shipping container. And they hired me to clean it out. And so I show up and I'm having to move stuff from around it. And I open the door and step in. And I'm in there for a little bit, and then I start feeling drunk. Like, I start feeling really drunk, like I can't really stand up straight. And then my wife shows up, Angela, and I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, I'm here to help you. I'm like, okay. She goes, this is a lot of money, and, you know, it's still a lot of money, even if it's a 2-person job. We can just get it done faster and get the same amount in a short amount of time. I'm like, okay. So we're like going through, and the people said, oh, you can have whatever you want. And there was old military gear in there, and it was straight out of the 70s, had the wood grain wall paneling all on the inside, shelves everywhere. And I mean, we're just going through, but I'm feeling really drunk in the dream. Like, I don't understand. And my wife's like, did you really have to drink before going on a job? I'm like, I didn't drink. I'm like, I didn't drink anything. And so we're working there, and, you know, we're going through trying to pick out stuff we want and put it in a box, you know, stuff we want. And so we're going through doing that, and then another is just straight trash. And then I'm walking, and I'm kind of woozy, and I put my hand against the wall, and all of a sudden the wall panel shifts back and then over, and it was a secret room, and it was full of guns. I mean, full of guns. And I was like, sweet. I'm like, we're taking home everything in this room. And during this whole thing, I'm like just feeling really bad. And I'm really woozy. And then I remember my wife she goes, there's something wrong. And she just grabbed a hold of me and held me. And yeah, this room was the same way. Had wood paneling everywhere, shelves full of guns, and it had a couple closets. And we're like, okay, well, let's take the stuff we have now, because by this time we're both feeling sick. Let's take the stuff we have now and take it home. And I just grab a few guns and take home. And then so we're at home, and I start feeling better. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back. But I brought a respirator with me, because I'm like, I don't know how long this place has been sealed up. So I bring the respirator with me. And so I go in there, and I'm cleaning stuff out. And, you know, I'm just, they had a big trash bin I rolled over, and I'm just chunking stuff in the trash, going through everything. And then my wife shows back up, and she's in there, and I'm like, hey, babe, I have a respirator. She goes, oh, no, I'm fine. It was just, you know, like, I don't know, just a bug yesterday. So I'm like, okay. So we're working, and then we're cleaning it out, and I'm back in the gun room, and I'm just taking all the guns and boxing them up, and there are knives and everything. I'm just putting them all in boxes. And then I got that room cleared, and then I go into one of the closets, open the closet. It's, typical stuff, clothing hanging up, stuff like that. And I'm like, I'll just throw these in a box. We'll go through them later. So I throw them in a box. And then all of a sudden, I hear a thud. And I go in there, and Angela had passed out and fallen. And so I take her to the hospital. And this whole movie, this whole thing, it seemed like a movie. And it was playing out, like, if I had to guess the time frame, it was 1970s. But it was like the 1970s trying to be futuristic. Because I take my wife to the hospital, and she's laying there on the hospital bed with like a plastic see-through gown, and all the like IV lines and cords coming up to her are lighting up. As it gives her medicine, the light, one bright light goes down, and when it gives the medicine, then another bright light. It's just like a cycle of, okay, now it's giving her medicine, this, and just bright cords everywhere. And the doctor's like, we don't know what it is. We don't know what it is. And they give me a bill. Like, well, this is how much it's going to be to keep her. She's in a coma. And I'm like, man, I really got to finish that job to have enough money. So at this point, I wake up in my dream. I'm laying in my bed, have my wife next to me, and I turn on the TV. So I go to turn on the TV, and it's the dream on the TV playing out. And I'm sitting there thinking, what on earth? Actually, in my dream, I said something else, because I'm like, I told myself, I'm like, I just dreamed this. How is it on there? And I see myself going back to the warehouse, and I'm cleaning out this thing, and I basically almost have it done. And I go back into the other closet in the back room, the hidden room, and open it, and there's a body in there. And it's like the 1970s where you see a body and just, it's like, dun, 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 and like down and like straight on the face, and it's all eaten away. And I'm like, what on earth? And I'm watching this on the TV, and I'm like, what on earth? And I'm like, I can't watch this anymore. So I turned it off and go back to sleep. And the dream picks right off where the TV left off. I'm like, I remember thinking in my dream, I'm like, this is weird. And so the body was in there, and I decided, because the warehouse is just full of all these shipping containers, and they said that someone broke into the warehouse and was living in one. So I'm like, let me see. So I take a crowbar and pop open the lock on the one next to it, and I open it up. It's the exact same thing. I mean, not identical, but exact same thing. Wood grain paneling on the walls, shelves. And then I noticed something up in the corner. There's a camera, little bitty camera up in the corner. And I'm like, what? And then I run back to the one I was at before, and I see cameras. So I run to another one, just a random one. I just take off sprint and pop the lock and open it. Exact same thing. Nobody, not a single one of them, anybody in it, except for the very last one I pop open, because I'm like, okay. I pop the lock, open it, and I hear someone go, and it's some guy covered in boils and pus oozing, and he's crawling on the floor, and I drop the crowbar, and I run for the exit. There's the rich couple at the exit, and they go, well, you found out our secret. I'm like, no, I didn't see anything. They're like, we developed chemical weapons, and we have a special one for you. And next thing I know, I'm waking up in a room with wood grain along the walls, and I just start screaming, no! And there's a note that says, the guns are for if you can't take it. And I woke up. And I was like, what? I mean, this was the weirdest dream I ever had. And I'm laying there, and I realized that in my dream I had woken up. But not really woken up. It was part of the dream, me waking up. And I remember in the dream, I even got up, went to the restroom, looked at my ear in the mirror. My ear was completely white, like this one, looked completely normal. And I was like, oh, my ear's getting better. But when I woke up, my ear hurt. And I went up and touched it, and it's all swollen and puffy. I actually took the earring out. It's all swollen and puffy and red. And yeah, so I don't know if it's because of the infection in my ear. I don't know if it's because of the stress of some stupid bullcrap at work. I don't know. Yeah, I wasn't driving in this lane. It's fine. Yeah, you can just hop right over in front of me. But I don't know if the dream was stress related, if it was because of the infection in my ear. I don't know if it's from my anxiety medicine that the VA has me on. I mean, I've been having more dreams lately, and I had a panic attack the other day, so it only makes sense that when I took the stronger anxiety meds I'm supposed to take when I have a panic attack, that the dreams would get worse. But that was weird. It was like a straight up 70s, trying to be futuristic movie, horror movie, kind of in the vein of a zombie, where the effects, the Italian film Zombie was kind of like that, and it was weird. Even when I was watching it on TV, it looked grainy, like a 1970s movie, and it was weird. Like, I remember waking up in the dream. When I woke up, I'm looking at my room, I get up, I go use the restroom, I look at my ear looks fine. I climb back into bed, like I do every time I climb back into bed after I use the restroom, because I am getting older, and when you get older, you got to get up 2 or 3 times in the night to use the restroom. And I get up, or when I come back to bed, I climb into the bed, lean over, give my wife a kiss on the shoulder or the forehead, and tell her that I love her. And in my dream, I did that. And I grabbed the covers, covered me back, and I got to work my legs around the dogs, Daisy and Lucy. I remember doing that in the bed. Or not Daisy and Lucy. Lucy, oof, there'd be no working your legs around her. Daisy and Oscar, because they sleep at the foot of the bed under the covers, or Oscar sleeps like a human with his head on a pillow. But yeah, I remember all that in the dream, and then I'm like, I can't sleep. And I remember turning the TV on, and boom, the dream was playing on the TV right where I left off, where I woke up. And I'm like, this is weird. I don't know. It is the absolute weirdest dream I've ever had. Even the clothes I was wearing were 1970s. I remember I was wearing bell bottoms, and I'm like, I've never worn bell bottoms a day in my life. In the 90s, I wore the baggy jeans, but I'd never worn bell bottoms where they're tight up top. I don't like clothes that are tight. So I'm fat. Fat and tight clothes don't go together, because then it pushes your fat out in different areas. And it's like, wow, why does it look like I have a third boob on the side over here? Oh, because my shirt's too tight. It's pushed my stomach up and out right there. So, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of stress and the medicine the VA has me on, and just my infection in my ear. Maybe it's a combination of all those things, stress and meds, and my mind just doing weird things to try and cope with the situation. I don't know. Oh, Whitewater is full. Wow. For the big slide where it has like 3 or 4 different slides going down the tower, the line is going about halfway down the tower, and it's pretty tall. Oh, Whitewater is our modest water park here in Oklahoma City. It's nothing like oh goodness, nothing like the ones, because I've been to Worlds of Fun in Kansas City, and I know they had a water park there. This is nothing like any of those. I'm trying to think of big, huge water parks. I've never really been to a big, huge water park. I've always just been to Whitewater. So, yeah, it's modest. But yeah, I'm oh, that reminds me about Whitewater. My cousins and I, we were all at my grandpa's. My cousin Scott, my cousin Brian, my sister. I think this was all on my mom's side of the family. And I think we're waiting on my mom or my dad to get off of work to take us to Whitewater. And then they got off work late, and we go to Whitewater. And I remember we're in our bathing suits, flip-flops on, towels are on our shoulders, going in. And the people were like, "We're sorry, but we're closing in 10 minutes. We're like, "What?" Go, "Yeah, we're closing in 10 minutes. And I remember my cousin Scott, who's just a few months older than me, he goes, "Well, can't we just go in and play for like 10 minutes? It was so funny. Which sometimes if I'm a little groggy, I look in the mirror and I see Scott. I'm like, holy cow, I look just like my cousin Scott. So, but yeah, I'm gonna let y'all go because this video's already been way longer than I anticipated it to be, but that was the weirdest dream I've ever had. Bye.